A young woman a few years ago lost her job at Zara because she had Bantu knots. We called them Nubian knots when we were growing up. And then you turn around a few months later and you see Marc Jacobs taking credit for Bantu knots on the runway.
Wow.
And I was like, but the ridiculousness is that you see the Kardashians constantly appropriating Black culture, and inhabiting, the looks of Black women, but Black women are penalized for this, and then they are glorified for it. So I just wanted to point out, because I think I get the cynics and people say, my God, Ida, is everything always dealing with race? I don't think people realize that systemic racism has infiltrated all of the systems that we have to encounter, from healthcare to even down to wear our hair. First, that fewer Black women, 69%, work in a corporate office setting compared to non-Black women, 77%. Given that statistic, consider that once hired during orientation, Black women are advised on grooming policies far more than non-Black women, 35% compared to only 23%. So from the get-go, it is assumed that Black hairstyles are messy and a policy must be enforced to show how we are allowed to wear our hair at work. No. Furthermore, depending on what hairstyle you have, you are considered to be less prepared to perform a job. And if you look at the graphic, depending on how your hair looks and what you decide to employ in terms of your own personal style and fashion, it is rated in terms of preparedness for work, which is absolutely ridiculous and ludicrous. So the Crown Act is law in the blue regions. The Crown Act is filed or pre-filed in the yellow regions. In the purple regions, the Crown Act filed but did not pass, which is ridiculous. And then the gray is the Crown Act has not been filed or passed. So just so that to give people perspective on what we're dealing with when it comes to hair and Black women and brown women, this is 2020. And we are dealing with these issues. So when we talk about discrimination and racism and institutionalized racism, and we say that it is involved in every aspect of our Black and brown lives, we are not exaggerating. We're talking about your hair. So I turn to Mahisha because Mahisha, my daughter is who brought you to my attention, because I will tell you, like, I have conversations with her all the time, and I tell her about all the guilt that I feel that I wasn't able to provide her with the products that she needed and the stuff and the information that she needed about her hair when she was little. And she said, I want you to release that guilt, because I hate to be the one to tell you that a lot of those products did not exist when I was little. And so she said that she has found a new way for herself and a level of esteem through your products, because your products come with information and education about her hair. And she didn't even know what texturism was until she started understanding. So I just wanted to say that to you, because when I reached out to you, it was like, it comes from such a deep place in my family.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's interesting because, that good hair, bad hair situation and really texturism, curly hair is beautiful and kinky isn't. It's just another divisive tactic to keep us hating each other. And that we are very adamant against is like, we don't call it bad hair. We don't call it kinky hair. We call it coily hair. It's important to say this is our texture. We love it as it is, the way God intended it to come out of the root of our scalps, and just to find solutions for it, to embrace it in its natural form. Whatever it does, however it coils and curls and waves and kinks and bends, that's your beauty. That's your natural beauty. So I'm glad that she's embracing it, and she's right. Before, when she was younger, there weren't a lot of options for us. That's why I credit the brand. But now there are curls and then so many more to give us that opportunity to love ourselves. We were told that we weren't pretty enough because our skin was too black, our noses were too wide, our hair was too kinky, our butts were too voluptuous. It's just so much thrown at us that it's up to us to change that narrative and to change how we feel about ourselves. And that's a piece of why I do what I do. Because when you go out as a young girl of color and you feel good about yourself, then your confidence is boosted, right? So we want to help her start at the very beginning, and the core of where beauty starts is really your crown. So let's let her feel beautiful with and confident that her curls are pop and her kinks are pop, and that she's looking good, she's feeling good, and she has a fro walk or whatever she may rock, that she's looking good. And so it's about building self-esteem, and then also just challenging what we've been told. You know, that I used to be the girl that when I had a I would straighten my hair because I felt, oh, I have to be pretty to have my hair straight when I was younger. So I'm changing that. You know, I'm changing that even within my family with my girls. I have 3 daughters, 3. So changing that and letting them know how beautiful their hair is, how beautiful they are. You know, that's important. So
Adjoa, I wanted you to speak to that in terms of how much of an issue it is legally. I mean, from the perspective that you have to work on creating a law in the workplace for women, because even when you say the numbers, people don't really understand. So I need you to give it a name and a face.
Add some additional color. Happy to. So most people, when they hear about this, they are surprised because they think that it's already covered under the classification of race, but it is not. Without explicitly identifying hair as a trait associated with race, our hair is not covered. So it becomes important for us to amend the definition of race to include the traits that are typically associated with it in order for our hair to actually be covered. So again, people are always surprised and they're like, well, why do we need a law about this? And it's like, because it's not currently protected under the classification of race. So we have seen our upward mobility be impacted. We've had, people who have been had job offers rescinded. We have had people who were denied unemployment. Again, I talked about just a couple of the cases of our students who, where they were, essentially denied having positive school experiences because of a decision to wear, or even their parents' decision to, lock their hair or braid their hair, which is beautiful. So this really impacts us in ways that people who don't have this experience can't necessarily imagine. So the law becomes important because without it, our hair is not covered, and we've seen the disproportionate impact of hair discrimination on Black and brown, not just women, but also our children and men as well, although of course it disproportionately impacts Black women.